I had to figure out what was going on with my health. And then it turned out that I was dealing with chronic Lyme's disease for damn near 20 years. My success in music didn't happen overnight. I was eating instant noodles for 7 years trying to make my dream happen. It's not about how many likes, what kind of marketing campaign did you use, what kind of special effects, what was the styling in the video. No, were you rocking that crowd or not? It's the last place where there's some honesty to the service that you're providing. Not to say, by the way, that you have to be ethnic on any level to enjoy hip-hop, because hip-hop is global because it speaks truth, I think.
Moin und herzlich willkommen zu einer neuen Folge von Back to Tape anziehen. Ich hoffe, ihr habt Back to Tape bisher schon gesehen. Wenn nicht, holt es bitte jetzt schnell nach. Hier ist der Link. Dann könnt ihr mir auch schreiben, was ihr von diesem Projekt haltet. Denn es ist für mich ein Herzensprojekt und da steckt sehr viel Liebe drin. Weil wir aber nicht das komplette Interview in diesen Film reinstecken konnten, haben wir dieses Format für euch entwickelt, um euch die unveröffentlichten Interviews zu präsentieren. Heute geht's nach Amsterdam. Pete Philly ist der Gast. Ich weiß nicht, ob ihr ihn kennt. Ich bin mit ihm groß geworden, weil er in den 2000ern sehr erfolgreich war. Englischsprachig, Rap aus Holland, mit seinem DJ Perquisite zusammen, weltweit auf Tournee. Dann war es auf einmal ruhig. Und 2019 ist er mit einer IP wiedergekommen. Was dazwischen passiert ist und was Hip-Hop ihm in seinem Leben gegeben hat, das erfahrt ihr jetzt hier bei Back to Tape anziehen.
Damn, this Porsche was even like, this thing was like massaging my ass as you turn the thing on, man. It was like, zoom. It's like, damn, they even get an ass massage up in this shit?
The Dutch scene, for me, of course, it's also about typical music styles from the Netherlands. Was the hip-hop scene the same? That it was more this, let me say, trashy sound, or this even crazy guys making music?
Well, one thing that makes the Netherlands specific when it comes to the entire entertainment industry is that it doesn't really long for innovation or representing itself necessarily. So what tends to happen is that a lot of entertainment out here is a version of something that already exists.
Okay.
So now that, for example, trap beats is everything and auto-tune is everything, so everything here is that as well. Now, I know that Germany is no different in that. I think globally that's kind of what's happening. So there's a sound that comes from the States and then everything else just jumps on that, but then it's in Greek or in German or whatever. There's a Caribbean and American point of view to me, which is combined with a certain Dutch point of view. So to explain, there's a humility to northern Western European culture that I've adopted to a certain degree. So I've done all types of legendary shit, but I never really mention it. I don't really, like, the American way would be to be on my CV all the time, where it's like, I've done this and I've worked with him and I've done tours there, and that's so that goes so against what the cultural norm is here that I don't really do that. But then I do believe in that American exceptionalism, where there's this idea of you're able to dream up anything and you can do anything you want and manifest anything, which kind of opposes the whole Protestant, just keep yourself like a little bit more out of focus. It really fucks with people if you have a real sense of agency and a sense of self here. It really scares people. So I try to not do that as much unless I'm with my American friends, I guess. And then there's a Caribbean sense to me, which is like hip hop is really on the one. The basis of it is like funk music.
Really?
It's on the one. But Caribbean music is more syncopated, so it's which is crazy because as an MC, you're a vocal percussionist. So there needs to be space for you to do it, which is why funk is the best canvas for it. You know what I mean? And I think that in combination with the fact that I worked with a producer that was able to play cello and thus make more cinematic string arrangements, that created a weird amalgamation, which is actually something that only could have been created here because Aruba is a Dutch colony. So it's because of that it was able to be created here and nowhere else, which is why I've been able to garner like a fan base in the States and in England and in Africa and Asia and Europe, because like I still believe, and this may sound naive, but I've been able to make a living off of this for 2 decades now doing this. I'm the only one selling what I'm selling. Nobody else is even attempting to do what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
So, because I'm not on a trap beat or on whatever is hot, and that wasn't the case in 2005, that isn't the case now. Because of that, I have my own niche, and that's mine. My dad and his family is black, so being in a space like the Netherlands, which is predominantly white, the hip-hop beats kind of like, yes, home, like, oh yes, that's my home, right? Not to say, by the way, that you have to be ethnic on any level to enjoy hip-hop, because hip-hop is global because it speaks truth, I think. There's something, and I think, you know, if we all stem from Africa, evolutionarily speaking, then yeah, I think we all want to hear those beats and those rhythms and those things knock.
Did you had any chance to get in contact with the hip-hop scene here in the city? Maybe like the usual way in the 90s when everything started?
Well, first of all, I grew up in The Hague mostly. So I've been living in Amsterdam for like 15 years now or something, but I grew up, when I came to the Netherlands, I grew up in The Hague mostly. Uh-huh. And The Hague has all the embassies and consulates and so it was an international city. It has the international crime, justice, whatever. So the reason I was able to really sharpen my hip-hop tools and MC tools is because I was battling American kids, like from the international school, and I was kicking their fucking ass. I loved it. They were like, it's like, bro, this ain't even my, like, this is the only language you know and I'm kicking your ass in it. Let's get it. So I knew then that I've always known that I was able to like cross over to other countries, and like I'm the first MC to even sign to an American label that hadn't in the Netherlands, but I think even Europe. In 2004, 2005, that wasn't the norm, you know. So that place shaped me more when it came to hip hop than Amsterdam, and also the first Dutch hip hop that was being done wasn't great. Mm-hmm. It was, you know, it wasn't your type of music. Well, it just wasn't dope. It was offbeat. It's everything that hip hop is now. People can't be, they have no timing anymore. Yeah. You had a wonderful moment in the 90s and the 2000s where people needed to be on beat, and that they didn't have that before and they don't have that now. I don't know, you know what I mean? Like all of these like trap rappers, they don't know how to stay on beat. It's really interesting.
On what point in your life you even had the plan to become a musician and to make hip hop to your maybe the middle of your whole life?
Well, I think I was really like rapping when I was like 14, 15, and with nobody around me doing that. So it was something that was just mine, something I would do, like I guess drawing pictures or something that kids will do alone in their room, right? Yeah. And then I remember I was freestyling to this cat at a show in Leiden, and he said, man, that's really dope. Let me introduce you to some people. And then I just became part of this hip-hop group called Nicotine, and it was all from there. Yeah. So the minute I went into a real studio recording, I was like, I'm gonna do this.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It was a straight plan, would you say?
Yeah, because like I was always a performer. So when I was younger, I won awards doing theater, and so like performance. The reason I still love music is because there's a performance aspect attached to it. So in the last 5 years, I've become more of a studio artist because of health and all of this other shit. So I had to just stay put a little. But I only really write songs to perform them, because also there's something honest about performance. If you give a shit show, everybody agrees that the show is shit. If it's a dope show, everybody agrees. It's not about how many likes, what kind of marketing campaign did you use, what kind of special effects, what was the styling in the video. No, were you rocking that crowd or not? It's the last place where there's some honesty to the service that you're providing, you know what I mean? Yeah, got it. I really enjoy that a lot. So the minute so I knew I was able to do acting and theater and singing and rhyming and music was all, there was a musicality to me. I really, by the way, hope that we don't have like a loop, because are we allowed to go to the left here? Elsewise, we've made a whole big ass loop for no good goddamn reason. Because, no, they broke this up. I fucking forgot that they broke this up, bro. Okay, so we're gonna make this same move, but we're not gonna go to the right, now we're gonna go to the left.
So how was it for you to live in the Netherlands and try to find your hip-hop things?
Yeah, it was kind of hard actually. And I remember when I came up, hip-hop was still relegated to like the far corners of club programming. So like growing up in The Hague, we would have like a hip-hop night, which would start on Sundays at 11 o'clock at night. So absolutely, when they knew they couldn't sell a beer to anything else, they were like, okay, we'll do some hip hop here. So for the longest, it was really treated as though it was like a nasty disease or something, which meant that in order for me to find stuff that was relevant to me as far as hip hop culture, I really had to like order specific magazines, and I had to order specific CDs, and everything was, it just required 3 or 4 more steps to get that juice, you know, to get the new info on things. So when you're talking about a scene, like I'm sure that Hamburg and these places have a scene. The Netherlands had a scene in Amersfoort, had one in Zwolle, but Amsterdam was really filled with all of these other like lone wolves.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to speak of a scene. Like I think a scene means that there's a feeding ground. There's a place where people you meet each other and you build together and you inspire each other. That doesn't exist here. Okay, so I was doing all of these like Asian and European tours with like pneumonia, and I would have like all of these like infections, and I would have all of these issues, like all of these immune system related issues. So I remember doing like a German tour actually. I had pneumonia, they gave me antibiotics. I'd take those. Then by the time we were in Munich, I was the 1 week antibiotics was done. I'd get a new one at some pharmacy there, and I would just continue to just perform. And so somewhere around like 29, I had to figure out what was going on with my health. And then it turned out that I was dealing with chronic Lyme's disease for damn near 20 years. I was bitten by a tick when I was like 12 or something during the school camp. Mm-hmm. And actually, that's when all my grades dropped. Everything went to shit after that. My last tour was like a tour I was doing in Australia. And after that, I got this diagnosis. And then I started treating it. And it took me, damn
like this.
Yeah, because we have to go in here. It's kind of illegal what we're doing, but fuck it. Yeah, perfect.
But we have this on tape, so it's cool.
Yeah. So I had to fight it. And now Lyme disease is recognized in Germany, but it isn't in the Netherlands. So so the insurance companies don't pay anything for it.
Oh, really?
So I literally went bankrupt buying my health back. It was hard.
This is really a tough story.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. Because it's a strange thing to like, it's not my success in music didn't happen overnight. I was eating instant noodles for 7 years trying to make my dream happen. Yeah. And then I had 4 or 5 years of actually touring and building it. And as I was kind of like settling into having like a place in all of this, this disease took me out of it, or actually battling the disease, which cost me a bungload of money. I was damn near homeless a couple years ago. It's like crazy the shit I went through. Like for 8 years, yo, you wanna do this television show? No. Yo, you wanna collab? No. Or no answer, because I was just dealing with my health. So I wouldn't fuck with me. Like if you have a friend, just not even in business, a friend, and you calling them like, yo, you want to go to the party? And for 8 years, it's like, there's nothing going on. You're like, fuck this guy. So the fact that people still give a shit about it, I really enjoy. And also something has changed. For example, England has really been, like the UK has really been supporting my shit now. And they never supported P. Philly and Perquisite like that. And I think it's because before I was like, okay, so this guy sounds American, but he's from Amsterdam. Who's this dude with a cello? We don't get it, right? And now there's more of an idea of there being a global consciousness and there being expressions of that global consciousness. So like the UK has opened up now. So that's really interesting to see.
It also shows me that even hip-hop and from your point the music and the love for the music can give you power to come all through these tough years.
Absolutely, and you're the first fucking journalist to actually say this. Nobody understood it. They were like, Lyme is really hard, right? No, the lesson is that if you have music in your heart, you can even fucking battle a disease that they say is untreatable.
Yeah.
That's how big music is.
Yeah.
And that's how big hip-hop is, because the premise of hip-hop is you don't get to decide what I am. I get to decide.
Yeah.
So you don't get to call me an N-word, you don't get to call me scum, you don't get to call me a thug. I decide what I am. Like hip-hop is basically a motivational speaking tape on a beat.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
So you get to live in these verses that tell you, I'm gonna fucking win, I'm gonna create this life. So if it wasn't for hip hop, I wouldn't have been able to battle Lyme like that, because hip hop taught me that I can manifest my reality in any shape or form I want to.
Das war sie also, die 6. Folge von Back to Tape anziehen. Ich hoffe, ihr hattet viel Spaß und habt Pete Philly ein bisschen zuhören können und seine Sicht auf Hip-Hop wahrgenommen. Und jetzt seid ihr dran, sagt mir, was ihr denkt. Stimmt das, was er über Hip-Hop und die Generation sagt? Schreibt es in die Kommentare und dann bis zum nächsten Mal bei Back to Tape anziehen.